Hail and well met, dear adventurer. 'Tis I, Bard, pronouns they, them, and she, her, welcoming you once again to the mad realm. And in today's tale of mortality, I shall tell you about the time and stars on Ascenscia. I shall tell you about the way that the planets move, that the stars move in such a way that creates the movement of days, months, hours, and so on and so forth. So please, join me and let me tell you about time. For once and after the aeon began, Ascenscia lies at the heart of a grand astrological cosmology which has been recognized as having one standard holy calendar and other mathematical interpretations existing as well. Generally, it is recognized that there are 13 months in one Ascensian year, 379 days with 21 hours each, 30 minutes in each hour, 9 seasons of 4 equinoxes, 4 over-seasons, and 1 magical season. The months are as follows, along with their corresponding season. The mortal equinox, axis, spring, Deiari, the solar equinox, Asceniari, summer, Constellari, summer, Pantheari, summer, Vitaliari, the dusk equinox, Titiari, autumn, Primiari, the lunar equinox, Draciari, winter, Starfall, winter, Arcaniari, winter, and Chaosiari, the twilight of chaos. Governing the world and its weathers are a variety of celestial bodies, stars, eldritch powers, and axes that follow charitable patterns. It is these elements of the world which occultists and mystics study to predict and understand the world around them. The alignment of a certain star at a specific hour may herald an outbreak of disease, while another may imbue a person with good health. The fickle nature of the immortals, too, extends to these events, leaving many sentients fraught with existential fear of the potentiality of the universe they cannot touch. Every season, save for the twilight of chaos, is controlled by these mysterious forces. In the sky, one may see at any given time 5 suns and 5 moons, one for each continent that mutates from all the immortal sun and moon bodies, and the arcane eye, a sun-moon, whose shape morphs between the sharpest sickle of the moon and the fullest sun. Alongside that are many stars which fill the night sky. The constellations that are recognized by all cultures are the lovers, triplets, the fallen, the ancestor, the dancer, the bard, the giant, the elemental, the draconian, the mourner, the chains of fate, the knower, and the mad one. The lovers, the constellation whose many forms may be seen as those who love. Those born under the lovers are said to be compassionate towards others, understanding, and kind-spirited. They are able to bring others together, even if the parties consider each other polar opposites. Persons born under the lovers may be those engrossed in politics, unifiers, or guild leaders. Yet, it should be remembered that not all love is pure, and that those brought together may be done so unwillingly or to do harm unto others. Flaws of the love include being considered over-attached to those whom they find common cause with. Conversely, one of this star sign may not be able to establish firm relationships due to the fact that they may seek to bring together more people than they have influence over. The triplets. The trio of stars known over as being the triplets represents harmony in all its aspects: birth, life, and death, mother, father, and child. The axis of good, evil, and neutrality. Law, chaos, and neutrality also fall into the interpretations of these stars. Those born under the triplets are often seen as arbiters in whatever they undertake as their focus. Persons born under the three may be those who study law and justice, judges esteemed for their scrutiny, or philosophers seeking to balance students. Balance is not always a force for equity. Those with this sign may act in the interest of one upholding an oppressive status quo or ensure that sympathy is rendered inert when doling out justice. Flaws of the triplets manifest as the inability to make a decision that would not, in some way, hurt another, a lack of trust for others' words, extreme moralism, and an impersonality that condemns any who may shift the balance of things. The fallen. The fallen are those who have since gone. Where one thing dies, another takes its place. Those born under the sign of the fallen are comfortable with the chaos of daily life. Like the namesake of their constellation, they understand that all things, including themselves, must pass to give way to whatever comes after. Fallen births may grow up to be historical philosophers, caretakers, stewards of funerals or births, and officiators of ceremonies marking a change. If one of the fallen finds a lack of change, they shall make it. Should something be unsatisfactory or too complacent, a child with this star sign will not hesitate to create the space for something new to arise. Flaws of the fallen often concern their lack of positionality. So focused upon the downfall and rise of the subject, the fallen is unable to understand their present. As a result, they may make decisions which have little thought of how the replacement of one regime may affect those under it. Furthermore, a venturer of this constellation may find themselves unable to empathize with someone responding to change in a different way and could lash out as a result. The Ancestor. The single star which remains in the same position throughout the year and serves as the guide for navigators and others who would look to the stars is the Ancestor. Those born under the Ancestor are believed to be blessed by their forebears for greatness. Because of this, they are steadfast no matter the odds. Much of this is attributed to the individual having stronger ties to their dead relatives than most. Those born by the ancestors' gaze may become leaders, hieromancers of great import, members of a council, or ardent supporters of preserving the past. And like an ancestor, those blessed by the star may be harsh and implacable in their beliefs. The prospect of change may disgruntle them if the change does not keep what they believe to be right at the forefront, or rather keep them and their ego at the forefront. Conservative radicals and harsh critics also fall under the Ancestor, caring little for the well-being of a community as long as their harmful nostalgia is safe. Flaws of the Ancestor most resemble those most attributed to the greatest legends of history. Whilst respected and commanding great power, many feel the eyes of their namesakes staring at them. To divert their own fears, many will seek to hyperanalyze or critique anything new or that which may replicate the past. Most notably, the flaw of narcissism may make itself known to all. Only the most patient can handle the sheer sentimentality of persons of this nature. The Dancer. Seen streaking around the sky at night, the Dancer is a star which moves in a circular pattern, never straying from its route. A venturer whose birth constellation is the Dancer is known to be gracile and intense. None are able to match the finesse a person with a Dancer is able to flawlessly utilize. Persons born under this sign have been known to be peerless duelists, acute athletes, wanderers, thrill-seekers, courtesans, philosophers of the body, and dancers. For others, their star sign is a fleeting mark. Though freethinkers, they may rally themselves into a frenzy and never break from their structure, lest dire consequences be had. Any minor infraction or too many failed attempts at a task can drive them over the edge and break them mentally. Nothing is more sacred than the way they perceive the world. Flaws of the Dancer typically revolve around the framework of the world. Everything has a purpose, like the moves in a dance, a typically ceremonial event. Those who stumble are weaklings or fools who need to be taught how to properly conduct themselves. A person born under the dancer may be passive-aggressive towards even their peers. No matter how impractical something may be, if it holds a purpose to them, they shall follow it to a letter or die trying. Hypocritically, should one try to impose a framework upon the dancer, they are met with staunch resistance for it. The bard, glimmering brightest in the sky, leaving the darkest mark when it is gone, the bard is a star renowned for its ability to replicate the effects of other stars, but for the briefest of moments before it flickers out and replicates another. A person born under the bard constellation is a prodigy. Many cultures view those granted gifts by the star to be undeniably bound for greatness, but often find the way they pursue that greatness to be less than sensible. Most under the bard's gaze are artists, jesters, crafters, musicians, storytellers, and intellectuals. Yet not all skills are put to the betterment of society. Slanderous speeches, poems, heinous rites, as well as the most cruel of items are attributed to those born under the sign of the bard. Flaws of the bard center themselves as the greatest persons imaginable when they are given praise for their talents, but make them degrade themselves when alone. Venturers of the bard find themselves the subject of a constant need for validation, no matter its source. They may surround themselves with those who praise them or find pleasure from their company, but only value what they can provide to them. As such, persons under this sign will sell their skills to the highest bidder, even if it compromises a personal aspect. So too may they try to show off their knowledge at any opportunity, while never truly finding fulfillment in their own creations, even rejecting propositions that they may better their own work, if not prove outright that they may learn more, honing their skills more precisely. The giant, the largest 3 stars in the sky. The giant is a symbol of unparalleled strength. Persons born by the giant are believed to exude power. Persons with this constellation are written of as being paragons of their selected professions. Due to their physical prowess, venturers of this star sign have little fear in their world, as their bodily will is displayed often and with gusto. Determination marks such persons throughout the course of their life, as does a unique stoicism originating from the idea that there shall always be challenges to overcome, and some are unconquerable. Those born under this constellation may take up soldiery, smithing, sports, mining, forestry, or taxing physical labor. It is the purview of these persons to show their power in any way they can. Abuse, murder, extortion, and destruction are favorite activities of the most extremist children of the giant. Flaws of the giant are made from the over-reliance on strength to carry the day. They may stagnate and lose the power they once possessed. Should a downtrodden venturer under this star be reminded of a physical failure, they may lash out angrily without a second thought, perhaps the same reason why the failure occurred. Some also do not diversify themselves, believing their might will prove right. It is when the possibility of complete and utter ends comes to pass that such a person may break and become inconsolable, consumed by their need to remain relevant. The elemental. It is the 7 stars that form the elemental that represent creativity, due to the many ways in which they may be aligned yet still create a cohesive form. Those born under this collection of stars are said to be persons of a fluid nature, never able to sit down for prolonged periods of time. Much freedom is given unto those persons for their seemingly innate talent to create. Practical yet aloof, persons born of the elemental do not see the physical world as being a set stage, but as a plane of manipulation and constant change. Professions taken by such individuals may include philosophers, thinkers, engineers, physicians, builders, or crafters. However, one of the elemental may have a knack for implementing dangerous designs into a work, or otherwise changing established operations to harm others under the guise of efficiency. Flaws of the elemental include a lack of complacency. Persons born of this constellation are reputed to move from one project to another at a whim if they see another opportunity to change. Half-finished projects to them are but a future chance to meddle, even if the design needed was not up to par excellence. Therefore, it is also said that should one have the aid of a person of this star sign, then it is to invoke doom if the companion cannot be focused. Nor can they be relied upon for prolonged spells. Only something truly captivating can motivate a venture of the elemental to act as well. Draconian. No more beautiful bodies are there than the 9 stars that form the crown of the Draconian. Much like the beings their star sign is named after, those born under the Draconian are paragons of society. Of all the star signs, save perhaps the Chains and the Mad One, none will question the supreme authority the thrice by thrice hold, for it is they who loom above all other stars. Those born under the star sign of the Soaring Lord are destined to become leaders no matter their field, so it is said. Steadfast and unyielding, they consider all to be under their immaculate vision, and shall defend what they hold to be their own. Lore says that those born under the Draconian may also grow to become as greedy and tyrannical as their namesake. They may believe many to be under their wing, but they are no more than that, underlings. Arrogance runs deep within this lineage, it is believed, and should 2 of the constellation meet, it shall be a battle for supremacy, with violent displays of their utter control of those beneath them. Flaws of the Draconian are propagated as being concerned with authority and all those woes that can come from it. They may be unable to handle stress well, and so seclude themselves from society. Doubts about their position are met with swift action, especially if it pertains to their higher callings. Draconian-born persons can also exhibit a high certainty of extravagance, which they shall display at any opportunity, a tact used to cause any foe to reconsider their machinations. Envy, greed, and vainglory mar the spirits of such persons. Mourner. No other grouping of stars represents change as much as the mourner, whose position in the sky flips back and forth. The mourner represents the understanding that all things must change. Even the certainties of today must become the uncertainties of tomorrow. Those born under the crying gaze of the mourner are believed to be agents of change. Such it is that many are sensible. Persons of this sign exhibit a lackadaisical attitude towards life, ever joyous at the fact that even the darkest of hours may give way to a new day. Members of society, mourners may include artists, engineers, midwives, funeral directors, prophet mathematicians, and petitioners for a cause. More devious persons of this manner include criminals, degenerates, and loustabouts, intent upon foiling the lives of others, for eventually a day shall come when their actions will no longer have consequences, and they can do so again. Flaws of the mourner include a lack of imagination. For all the sensibilities and logic a mourner may have, they scorn a lack of reason. All things have a purpose, it is believed, and if the cause is not worthy, then there is no reason to support it. Persons of this star sign may be frugal or hostile towards anything they deem unreal. So down to earth can they be that subtlety is often not their expertise. Ironically, venturers of the cheerful constellation may be aloof due to their ignorance of the importance of stability, even if it may detriment the whole. The Chains of Fate. The Chains are a constellation of stars linked together in a long line, often seen as a thread of fate. Persons born of the Chains are intelligent and simple persons. They are considered to be the most calm and overall grounded of all the star signs. Persons born under this sign may become judges, astrologers, almsgivers, patrons, mentors, gamblers, prophets, or tacticians. They are noble in their ideals and progressivists. Nothing is able to dampen their spirits, it is said, for one of the chain is one who is able to see all possibilities, both positive and negative, in any given situation. Venturers of the chains are most likely to be the most empathetic out of all the signs, finding common cause with others, for each thread of fate is woven in a single tapestry. However, fate does not always have a good ending. Those of this sign may also be considered an unfair consultant. For them, a sense of apathy may come naturally, as fate cannot be dictated by any mortal. Those of the chains may do anything they can to keep the balance of fate in order, often finding little care. Thus, it is said of all the signs, those of the chains are hardest to get along with for prolonged periods, due to their innate disgust at anything not to the design of a higher power. The flaws of the chains include timidness at the prospect of asserting authority, taking control of one's own fate. A venturer of this star sign may cower in the presence of anything they do not understand. Furthermore, a lack of responsibility plagues them, since it was not they who did the act, but it was fate that culminated in the event. Persons born of the constellation are also considered highly immature when compared to their peers, as they believe that only an external event, and not one whom also has a laid-out destiny, may dictate how they act. The Knower. The most lonesome collection of stars, the Knower is the farthest away from any other constellation. Like their namesake, persons associated with the Knower are scholarly individuals able to absorb vast amounts of information and retain it. Persons born under this star sign may find themselves philosophers, accountants, engineers, emissaries, pioneers of invention, or archivists. It is said that these persons have a deep curiosity of the world around them, which guides them throughout their life. Sentimentalism is another feature ascribed to the Knower. In addition, they may be always counted upon. Unfortunately, the quest for knowledge is not always pleasant. Mad scribes, conspiracy theorists, and stokers of ignorance have been counted among those of the Knower. Knowledge is power, and for those without it, they are susceptible to manipulation. Flaws of the Knower include obsessive personalities. Be they too inquisitive or too engrossed in their own knowledge, such persons may become hardened to the world. They may hide themselves away, not in disdain for society, but for fear that the lore they keep may be stolen from them, or worse yet, may be lost in the drudgeries of both city and village. All things can be studied, it is thought, and the overly idealistic among them will use any means to pursue their goals. And lastly, there is the Mad One. Appearing only during the month of chaos, the Mad One is every star in the sky that is arcane. Those born under this sign and survive are forever scarred with the taint of madness. Their personalities and flaws incorporate many aspects of different star signs, making them hard to pinpoint. The only distinguishing feature of persons born under the Mad One who do not die horribly is that they are whatever they say they are. Thank you, dear adventurer, for listening. I have been Bard, pronouns they, them, and she, her, telling you these tales of mortality, the stories of the world. But there are much more interesting tales of mortality, no? I shall return to you soon, coming out of the Archivus Venturis, with many tales of those whom have come and gone, loved and been loved, lost and been lost. Now please, I hope that you all have a glorious day and may chaos reign. Bye-bye. Tales of Mortality is a world-building podcast set in the world of Ascenscia, created and owned by Bard, me, over 18 years and counting. It is a fantasy world of horror and madness, a planet racked by mutation magic where humanity survives only through itself and the Spirit Indomitable against horrors natural and unnatural. The Worldbuilder, writer, producer, and artist of the art featured in this thumbnail and video is Bard, me! Down below is a transcription of Lore, as well as a link to my Instagram page, Bard of the Mad Realm, where I shall be showing off art related to Ascenscia. Thank you all for listening, and may chaos reign. Bye-bye!